All right, we are live on the lunch break today here at FNGO, Fish North Georgia. Glad you guys could join me today. Hope everybody's doing good out there. It is Thursday, November 6th, and we are almost to the weekend. So I hope everybody's doing good out there. Hope your boss man is not really pounding on you too hard and that your day's getting a lot better. Once you get to that 5 o'clock or whatever time it is you get off, I know it'll be a lot better. And then you got Friday, and you'll get to go fishing or hunting and do whatever you want to do. So, again, appreciate everybody that will be joining me. Let's go ahead and take care of our business for today. Now, Toys for Tots tournament, December 6th, Laurel Park, guaranteed $5,000 first place prize, $80 per team plus one unwrapped toy to help the Hall County and Pickens County Toys for Tots. Hey, listen, if any of you guys are worried about permitting or anything like that, well, I just got the official okay from the Army Corps of Engineers via email that we are good to go. Even though you don't see us on that list, if you're going to check, we have verbal confirmation that we are absolutely fine. So won't you guys come out there? If you drive a Phoenix, of course, hey, Phoenix contingency, if you are first place, and a couple other little details, but you can win you some extra money. And you can go ahead and register now. Okay, you can contact me. I'll get you registered up, or you can register the morning of. But again, you're going to blast off in the order of which your registration has been paid. So if you want to get out there quick, hey, go ahead. If you want to be one of the first ones. And again, you get to fish against all the podcast guys will be out there. It's going to be a good time. Just want to put some smile on kids' faces. So what's up, Doug, Tyler, Cam, Silver Punk, Jeff, Alex, all you guys? I hope you guys ain't working too hard today. And again, I'll go ahead and put it out there. There will not be a lunch break tomorrow because I am going to be heading up to Kentucky with Doug Rice and hopefully get on a nice whitetail up there, doing a little hunting. The weather looks like it's going to be good. Going to be cold, though, next week, guys, so it's really going to come in and hit us hard. Actually, I saw something yesterday. A couple models are thinking about throwing out a little bit of snow here in North Georgia. So, Alex is busting my butt over here. Hello. Well, I hope hey, listen, make that money, buddy. Make that money. But anyway, listen, hey, what part of Kentucky are you coming to? I hope I say this right. Cadiz, C-A-D-I-Z. Cadiz, Cadiz, however you want to say it up there. So G4 Outdoors has a place up there. So, Jeremy, I don't know if you're near that. Maybe we can meet. I don't know. But I'm going to the great state of Kentucky. Going to be leaving out tomorrow morning and going to enjoy a long weekend out there. My stepdad just dropped a 6-pointer in South Georgia this morning. Congratulations to him. Got a picture finally last night on our place over in Milton of a decent 8. We've had a bunch of smaller scrub bucks, but a decent one finally showed up. And it's about that time. Nathan Owens. Hey, Danny, the Real American Road Trip was a very good show, man. Thank you, Nathan. Hopefully we can find some funding and continue it, right? You got to have that sponsorship money. It takes money to make money, and TV shows are not cheap. But maybe it'll happen. Maybe it will happen. I had a lot of fun doing that as well. What's up, Tracy Coker, Atlanta Outdoors? Waiting on IT, so I'm basically off for the next week, but showing up to work. That's the way to do it. Now, Jamie says the weather is looking rough. They changed the high school football games tonight instead of tomorrow night. So you guys got what kind of weather? Bobby wants to know what's a decent 8? 120s. 120s, but it's not what I'm looking for over there. It's a bow only place in Milton that one of my fine sponsors is allowing me to hunt. And so if I'm going to take one off of that, it's got to be 130, 140. So, if that was your first buck you ever shot, it'd be a good one. He's thick, but he's not really, he doesn't have much of a spread. He's tall, got some mass, but not what I'm looking for. I'm going to do my first sit on Sunday morning. There you go, Tyler. Get out there. What's up, Coleman? Anyway, yeah, so we'll see. I can just tell you right now, Doug sends me pictures of some deer that I'm telling you what, absolutely. What's up, Colin Burnett? Absolutely blows my mind just the amount of quality bucks he's got in that area. And we've got them here in Georgia too, but we'll see. Hopefully it'll work. I bet it's an expensive production. Yes. Doug Rice. Yeah, I'm sitting down in downtown Atlanta waiting on an inspector, then I'm out of here. Me too. I got the show tonight. Now listen. Guys, tonight, 8 o'clock on YouTube only, you guys need to watch because I got Fisher Anaya on. And if you don't know who this kid is, you need to watch tonight. There are phenoms, and then there are good anglers. This kid's a phenom coming out of Alabama. All he has to do, I believe, in the last EQ event is finish in the cut, and he will become the third youngest ever to qualify for the Bassmaster Elite Series. He's 19. But he's been on the water. He's been on the water since he could walk, basically. Caught some crappie yesterday on small jerk baits and grubs, a few small spots too. And Doc Holliday's on the water right now. Yeah, Big Bait John said, hey, you guys join. We're going to get these kids a Merry Christmas. So do the Toys for Tots. Questions on the Spotify. So with the splitting up of the company, there were a lot of things in different names and everything. So right now, the Spotify podcast has been stopped for right now until everything is switched over into the proper names, you know, the legal stuff that you got to do. And then at that point, we will continue putting them on Spotify. Yes, I got a real hat, Roger. I got a real hat today. Glad you noticed. Yeah, his dad is pretty good too. And Ryan is, and they both got really good followings. I talked to Ryan. Well, I was messaging them both last night. Just super nice people. Super nice people. And but I tell you what, you know, a lot of guys you have to chase down and say, hey, I want you to be on a podcast. And then, you know, well, let's see what we can do. Let's schedule it. Let's this, let's that. Or they don't answer you at all like that. Fisher was like, boom. And I'm like, yeah, heck yeah, bro, let's do it. Very excited. And I'm looking forward to talking to him. And listen, just like any other guest, I don't care that he's 19. We're going to try to squeeze some juice out of him, okay? Because at the end of the day, all this is about you guys catching more fish. And if he can drop a morsel or two that you guys can take and go out there and catch more fish, then we have done our job. So let's see. Fisher is a fisherman. Follow him, his dad. They seem like really good people. They are. Nathan, what's going on with the company? Just a little split. Nothing, no bad, nothing ugly or nothing. Just Josh is going to go one way and I'm going to go another, and I'm going to continue doing the podcast and things like that, the socials and all that. And he's going to go off and into the fly fishing world and with his camera, because that's where his talents are. You know, he's amazing behind the camera. So nothing bad, just coming to the point where this is the right thing to do, right? It's just the right thing to do. For both of us, but still friends and everything, nothing ugly at all. So that's just kind of where we're at with that. And it's almost to the point that we're done with the split, but there's just certain things I cannot do until that happens, right? Until that happens. I think Fisher is fishing out of G-Man's boat from last year. He might be. I'll have to check that out. Ryan is a cool dude as well. Yeah, good guys all around. And listen, very big TikTok following, right? Ryan's on TikTok all the time. And I actually offered to listen. I told Ryan if he wanted to jump on, he could jump on as well. But I think he likes to let his son have his own spotlight, right? And so that's why. Him and Trey McKinney make me question what I'm doing with my life. Well, Tyler, listen, you know, there are people that are just born with it, and those two have it. You know, they've got it. And then there's the rest of us, right? What's up, Tony? Glad you could be here today. Patricia Lee and Shaw, Toyota Championship going down right now. Carson wants to know, you still going to do the TV show again? Yes, we still own the TV show together, and we would love to keep it going forward. Cool of y'all to have respect, but yeah, now listen, Josh is my friend. None of that's changing. Mike Geiger is here, and Geiger, like again, if you want to call me right after the show and sign up for the Toys for Tots, I'll be available. And Alex said that's how I found him. I was on TikTok, so yeah, very big TikTok following. But the thing is like you guys have heard me talk about this 100 times when it comes to the live well. I want to make friends with every one of these young up-and-coming phenoms, just like we did with Emil, because when they become your next Bassmaster Classic winners, we're friends with them already. It's absolutely the thing to do. I think at one point Fisher had 6 live scope transducers on his boat. That's going to give certain people a heart attack. Yeah, but he's not now. And listen, that's another thing too. We're going to find out some ways that he's going to fish without it tonight. Now, Dead Rabbit, jumping right into my first topic for today. And let me tell you why I got to this topic. I'll read Dead Rabbit's comment, all right? What's brand loyalty? That's like saying political loyalty no matter their actions. I understand that. Roger Haas Apple, I hope I said that right, finally caught alive, just recently became a member. Thank you, Roger. And you will be entered into the drawing December 1st for the next JC Elite Reel from Spro. We'll do that drawing December 1st. But so brand loyalty, this is why I was thinking about it. And it has to do with everything that's going on today, from politics on down. You can't see anything, and I want to talk fishing. I don't want to talk politics, but let's just look at our lives. You become brand loyal to your Republican or Democrat, independent, whatever. Most people, they identify one way or the other, and they're not going to change. You going down to your sports teams, it just filters down into every aspect of your life. And so I was thinking with fishing, if you pull up social media, you will have guys that no matter what, that they're going to promote this or they're going to talk about this one company. They'll fish with this one company, no matter what. And then you've got guys that they'll bounce around, from time to time. You'll see them promoting one thing or talking about this. And then, maybe 5 months later, whether they're an influencer or whether they're just a customer, they've got another one. And so I was thinking, what makes you guys brand loyal to anything? And let's keep it, we can go anywhere. That's what we do with this show. We can go anywhere, talk about anything, but I'm talking mostly fishing, hunting, outdoors, right? But you can talk cars or whatever. I don't care. I'm only loyal with line, rods, and reels. Tyler said, well, okay. So Tyler, my question to you is this, and just like anybody, he says Shimano, Luma, Seaguar. Okay. My question to you is why? I will say this, I'm really only loyal to I got to think about bait companies. If you got a good worm, I'll throw it. If it catches me fish, I don't care. I will throw it. Dead Rabbit says, I'm loyal only to myself. Hey, listen, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. And I get that. Make sure I didn't miss anything on TikTok. Take crankbaits. Though I am brand loyal to one crankbait. One brand of crankbait, and that's Spro. Are the other ones good? Yes. Can they catch fish? Yes. But I have confidence that every time I throw a rock crawler across a rocky point or something, I'm going to get bit. Or a Little John. But mostly with the rock crawlers. I have put on a DT8 and thrown it in the exact same places and just not felt like I was going to catch fish. Doesn't mean that I catch a fish every time I throw a rock crawler. Of course I don't. But for some reason in my mind, it's there the possibility is there every single cast. And I'm not going to change. I'm going to throw a rock crawler all winter. Confidence. So that's my reason. But why are you loyal to those things? Now, I'm brand loyal to this podcast, Coleman. Hey, I appreciate it. I'm brand loyal to you guys as well. I missed a couple of them things. So, quality of products, number one. Yeah, for sure. Alex says, number one, product has to be good. Number two is the people. They have to be good people. They have to have a good, friendly relationship. That makes sense. I get that 100%. I think Shimano makes the best reels. Loomis makes the best rods. And Seaguar makes the best fluoro. Simple enough across the board. You like that. You have confidence in it. What's up, John G? Atlanta Outdoors. Berkley is the company that drives me nuts. I feel like they just copy everything and mark it up. I try to stay loyal to Georgia and small companies. So again, that's another thing. Name brand, smaller company. What draws you to somebody? What draws you to be loyal? Okay. Rock crawler, I'll go ahead and tell you, the first crankbait I ever threw that I caught fish consistently was a rock crawler, and I just haven't changed. It's as simple as that. It's like, you know what? When it's on the end of my line and I throw it, I just feel like I can catch fish. And I've thrown a bunch of other ones. And I'm not a huge crankbait guy. Seriously. I'm not a huge crankbait guy. But if I throw one, you're going to see that on there. But yeah, you're right with Berkley as far as, bigger companies and how they get their products. That's a whole other discussion that can happen and probably needs to happen. Yeah, it's out there. What's up, John G? Again, I said, not blowing smoke up your butt, Danny, but that's how I feel about my jigs. Yeah, listen, I appreciate that. At the end of the day, though, Cam, it's a confidence thing. I tied you some jigs. You caught some fish on them, right? Because a jig, if we're being honest, a jig is a jig is a jig as long as there's certain things certain criteria, man. Like I don't, some people will argue it doesn't matter if they're banded. I just prefer wire tied jigs because I want to be able to throw them next year if I don't use them, right? There are certain things, but I appreciate that. But I'll throw other companies jigs and I tie them. You see what I'm saying? So even with my own, I'm not brand loyal to myself on that. And so it's kind of interesting. And again, now what's one of the baits I don't have a lot of confidence in? We've talked about it. Jigs. So I don't know. Tony says, and I need to start pulling these things up. Let me pull them up. How many can honestly say if a company offered to pay you to use their stuff, you wouldn't? Not a discount code, but actually paid you just to use it. Yeah, I mean, I would. I mean, I guess. The one good thing I can say about Spro is I was using them before because I've been throwing a rock crawler for a long time now. But, there are some guys that are like that. They will do that. I mean, hey, you listen, money talks in this world. Money talks. But are you brand loyal at that point, or are you just kind of like an employee? Let's concentrate on those that are not being paid. Right? You know what I'm saying? I have a core group of brands that I like the best, but my collector's mentality wants me to try everybody's stuff. That's from Silverpunk. So again, you're willing to get out there and try. You're willing. Critterbug Customs, I'm brand loyal to the locals, all about supporting your neighbor. And a lot of people are like that. A lot of people will not buy from a major company. And then a lot of people won't buy smaller brands. They'll only buy from a major company. It kind of does go both ways with that. But I get that. I appreciate that. I'm bad to beat up a rod and reel. If they last a couple years, it's hard for me not to continue to buy that brand. I get that for sure. I feel like it's easier to be brand loyal to brands that are the originator of the product. Dawson Thompson. Again, okay, so let's just say this. Let's throw this out. When it comes to, let's pick some. Let's pick a lipless crankbait, Dawson. Are you throwing the Bill Lewis stuff? Are you throwing the older company stuff? Or are you willing to throw a Spro or something like that? I do agree with you. But if you have something that somebody originated and somebody came and made it better, if it's better, I think you can make that jump for sure. But it is an interesting question, and I like that comment. Now, Dead Rabbit says price, availability, function, success, 100%. I mean, listen, there are a lot of brands that have been bought out by other companies over the time that brand has actually gone down in quality and value, right? And so then at that point, kind of back to Dawson's comment, Company X was a small company made in Middle Georgia. And I'm not saying this is a totally fictitious company. Company X was made in Middle Georgia, great product, great local following, started expanding its reach in the Southeast. Big major company comes in, offers the sole proprietor, hey, we'll give you $2 million for your company. Guy's like, yeah, shit. How many of these things would I have to make to bank $2 million? He sells. Now the big corporation says, okay, we're going to cut this color. We're going to change this a little bit because our production can make it a little cheaper, X, Y, and Z. And then by the time they're done, the product is not, it may look like the original, but it's not the original. And then at that point, I think it's very easy to say, I'm not doing that. Now, Doug, I think you right here, or you were with a lot of people. My loyalty only goes as far as the next new baits that catches me fish. And a lot of people are like that. They're going to go with what works, right? And it's going to be like, that's the hot thing. That's why we get these trends, right? That's why a company comes out and they're like, everybody's jumping on them because they're catching fish. But then it'll be replaced eventually. Tony says most people are loyal because of a money spent bias. We all think what we've paid money for is good, relatively speaking. Yeah, like if I'm going to spend my money on it, I'm loyal to that. I get that for sure. Now, Big Bait John. Now, listen, I like this. Fruit of the Loom, nothing keeps it together better right there. Fruit of the Loom, he's brand loyal. You guys are like this with cars, too. I always got tickled because I am not brand loyal when it comes to cars. I don't give two shits if it's a Ford, Chevy, whatever. If it gets me from point A to point B and it's paid for, I'm good with it. But I know my father-in-law, bless his heart, God rest his soul, it had to be a GM or a Chevy. He was never going to drive a Ford. If I had a Ford, and he was a shade tree mechanic, we worked on cars all the time. If I had anytime one of my Fords broke down and we had to work on it, oh my Lord, I had to listen to it. If you'd have bought a Chevy, if you'd have bought a GM, not this Ford crap, Ford means this, and all, you know how it is. That's the way he was with cars. And listen, how about you sneakers? A lot of guys will only wear Nike. They won't wear Reebok. Got to be Adidas. I don't know, but it's just kind of, I just found myself thinking about that, and it goes with social media and podcasts. I appreciate the kind comments from some people, but there are podcasts that I can listen to, and then there are podcasts I can't miss, or TV shows that I can watch, or TV shows that I can't miss. I am like, I will not miss this. Goes with our sports teams. As bad as the Braves suck this year, I powered through every one of the damn games. I am brand loyal to the Atlanta Braves. As bad as they suck, I'm brand loyal to the Atlanta Falcons. I don't really like the Hawks that much because I'm not much of a pro basketball guy. I can't watch it since Jordan retired. But again, I'm brand loyal to Jordan. And hey, think about music. Music today sucks. As we get older, we're loyal to the brands or what we had that, in our formative teenage years, right? I mean, I can listen to some stuff today, but I'm telling you, I'm loyal to 80s hair metal, 80s rock and roll. Nothing's ever going to surpass it. So it kind of permeates all of our lives, no matter whether we realize it or not. Fishing gear is like candy, got to have some of everything. I agree with you with the exception of one thing. Them guys we talked about, candy corn. Candy corn. If you gave out candy corn for Halloween, you're a cheap ass. You're handing out wax. That's the nastiest stuff. Atlanta Outdoors. Tony, yeah, and that's why the live scope argument is so heated too. I think when you're talking about back to money spent, y'all remember the guy I had it out with on the live well that one night. What was it about? He wanted to know about, how are the poor people going to reimburse him for all the money spent? A jackwagon comment, right? Oh, let's see. I had a comment. I missed it. Let's see. The 536 Wildcats. I think brand loyalty only goes so far until you have a poor experience. I think you're correct on that. I do think you're correct on that. And then I have one, loyalty to Cash Braid right here, Tyler. I'm loyal to Cash Braid because I've had great experiences with it. I think it's the best casting braid out there. Before that, I would throw nothing but Power Pro. I just think, I didn't really have a bad experience. I had a better experience, but I do agree with what you said. 100% when it comes to that. It just takes one bad experience, right? It just takes one bad experience, and you're like, some of us will say, well, I'll give it another shot. But then, let's just say you have another one. You're like, I get it 100%. And you're going to change, and you're going to keep going till you find something that just comes up to, absolutely, you have total confidence in 100%. When it comes to jigs, I'm a jig guy. I've thrown them for 20 years now. I'm a D and L. I think that's what you're saying, jig guy. D and L, Jeremy says, out of Kentucky. Hey, and listen, if they make them and you like them, you roll with them, right? That's I think brand loyalty, one of the things too I was thinking about is brand loyalty is so important to a small bait manufacturer, right? Berkley, Strike King, I'm not knocking them. Great stuff, whatever. This is not about their products, but at the end of the day, you're a number to that corporation. You are a person who bought a bait. If you have a small, especially with the small bait makers, the mid-range guys, but especially the small guys, you're more important than you realize, right? Let's take Pam and Mike Shepard over at Georgia Blade. They make good stuff. But I bet you Mike and Pam can name more actual customers that use their stuff than, and not pros, average, everyday anglers. I bet you they can name some names. They could drop some names, or they know them via their social media. Whereas a guy in a boardroom for a big company, he don't know your name. And again, I'm not knocking the big companies. I'm just saying that brand loyalty when it comes to smaller companies is huge. Okay, it's huge, and that's even in a coffee shop, a flower shop. Small companies, brand loyalty is huge with them, and they rely on brand loyalty. They rely on you. Restaurants, small, individual restaurants, not Taco Bell. Ain't nobody at Taco Bell knows your name. Is even though I love the chili cheese burrito, I guarantee you Taco Bell has no idea how many chili cheese burritos I've ever eaten. But if you go up here to Mary's Bread Basket right here in front of the Lowe's, they have this jalapeno, oh my God, pimento cheese sandwich. It's got bacon in it and all that. Well, that woman knows that when I go in there, I'm going to order that. She may not remember my name, but she can see my face and I need one of them jalapeno sandwiches. She knows coming in, that's what I'm going to get. I'm brand loyal to my fiance. And Coleman, you should be because you outpunted your damn coverage, boy. And if you mess this one up, you might not get another one like that. This might be a once in a lifetime chance for you, buddy. Seriously, I'm not exaggerating. She got business sense and everything. You better hold on to that. My confidence is Texas rig and tail spinners. Hey, 100%. It used to be mine too. Now the tail spinner thing, not so much, but Texas rig used to be all I would throw. I do a lot of research of reviews before I make any purchase. If it has great reviews, I'll try it and be the judge for myself if I use it in the future. 536 says, you got to try and support your local businesses and friends. That can make or break them 100%. Absolutely. I can't agree more with what you said. Now, I will tell you this, Cam. When we were doing this podcast, I'll give it to you, Bass Time Diaz, here in a second. When I was figuring out how to do this podcast at the house, because we were going to sell the stuff from the shop. We had to do it. I needed a mic, okay? Well, I didn't have the money right then to go buy all the stuff that we had. And so I went on Amazon and I looked at reviews. And I never hardly ever do that. And I got this mic based upon reviews, right? There's no brand loyalty there. I wish I had the other one, but, I had to make that purchase on reviews. Yeah, Tyler, that was a good answer. Doug said, I guess if I'm loyal, it would be with Zoom products. Now, Zoom is an established company, especially in the South. A lot of people are like that. A lot of people are like that. And I get it. And Zoom makes good products. Now, if Zoom started going to crap, you would not be you'd be like, what's going on? Because you're used to Zoom making good products, right? It would really be shocking if all of a sudden Zoom was like putting out really inferior stuff. It is what it is. I would be more open to using different rods, but not reels. And so, listen, I'm not brand specific when it comes to rod reels. I will say now, I use more of the Spro stuff than I've ever used before. If I had to say one company that made up a big majority of my rod and reels, but most of the time it's like if it feels good, I'm going to use it. I've had better success with other companies, and some than others, but I'm getting where I like that. I'm liking that Spro stuff again, and I wouldn't bullshit you guys, like I really do. I like Shimano for freshwater and Penn for saltwater as far as reels go. They've been great to do with all the abuse that I give them. Yeah, for sure. Money might talk, but if I think a bait sucks, I'm going to say it. And you should, Jeremy. You should, 100%. What's the worst that you could do? A lot of people say it's a great bait. No, that's not. We don't need to be doing that. Tell everybody the truth. War Eagle the best. What's the difference between the 50 and the 55 rock crawlers? Depth, the diving depth. And I think some of you guys, you might have already answered that. Yeah, it's the depth at which they run. That's the biggest difference. The body is a little bit, there is a difference in the body a little bit. Same bait, little size difference in depth. They never make them better, only cheaper, moist donut. And Cam said a Ricochet. Yeah. That's the one thing. How many times do we say this across the spectrum? They don't make them like they used to, right? They don't make them like they used to. You're right. Think about guys, you can just do that in food. Y'all notice food has gotten smaller? It costs more and it's gotten smaller. Tyler Shelnut, I'm promiscuous when it comes to baits. Good Lord. He may or may not be talking about a Sebile. I don't know. I must have missed that comments up there. Captain Morgan, Dobbins are only sold under the condition he could stay on and continue to run that business. Summarized in other words, and I like that. After they were bought by another company, 100%. I like that. Too bad Dollar Store doesn't sell fishing gear. Toyota for the win. I've got a Chevy, Ford, and a Dodge sitting in the driveway. Right now in my driveway, there's a Chevy, a Ford, a Honda, a Jeep. And my son drives a Dodge. John G. I love that. Dude, I love the new logo. It's great. Absolutely great. I bought several baits because FNGO had their owner on as a guest, Buca Brazilo Tactical Fishing in Blair, and I'm very happy with the things I've ordered from them, and I like that. That's good. And listen, though, John G., I would want you to feel comfortable enough with me or any of the guys to say, hey, listen, you guys had so and so on. And I mean, maybe not publicly, but reach out to me privately. You guys had so and so on, and I bought some of their baits, and I really didn't like it. And I'm going to ask you why. And then, your experience may not be somebody else's experience, but it does get registered up here in the old noodle. And if we start getting several of those, then we have to stop and say, okay, what's going on? Because we actually put out the information, right? There are companies, and I won't name any of them, but there are some guys that come on or have been on in the past or want to come on in the future that I don't want to do a 2-hour infomercial. Okay, if you want to talk about your baits for 2 hours, then put it on your Facebook page. If you want to talk about why you make the baits and fish and how to fish, those things are good and answer the questions. But if it's just a straight up infomercial for your bait, I don't put them on. And there are guys out there that want to know why I haven't put them on, and that's 100% it. 20 minutes of talking your bait would be good enough, and then I can't do it no more. Did I just drink a urine sample? No, dude. This is a Canada Dry ginger ale today. Only reason is because we're out of Pepsi freaking Zero, and my daughter was sick last week, and there was some Canada Dry. But it does look like a urine sample. That's funny as crap. Let's see. Alex, I'm lost on your comment right there. Patricia, I picked up a spool of 20-pound mono for $2 on the clearance table at Dollar General last week. Blew my mind seeing it, but I had to buy it. Dude, you bought some Dollar General mono? Hey, listen, Dollar General has its place. Don't get me wrong. I go buy stuff from Dollar General all the time. But 2-pound mono at Dollar General might be just past what I'm willing to buy there. You know what I'm saying? Brand loyalty or loss of that loyalty is often affected by political stances. Nike and Bud Light are prime examples. And listen, but you know what? I agree. And that's, society has a way of making things right or not right like that. Bud Light, I don't care which stance you're on it, but that was to me a prime example of not knowing your constituency or whatever, not knowing your customer. All right. If you're a small bait company that makes a fantastic spinnerbait, and that's what you're known for. I don't know what you guys are doing over there, but I like it. If you guys know this company for making a fantastic spinnerbait, and then all of a sudden they quit making spinnerbaits and they go into straight plastics, a lot of you guys are gonna be like, what's going on? I think that in a very, very kind of simple stance is what happened to Bud Light. Well, I really wasn't a big Bud Light fan anyway. Now I liked Budweiser. Bud Light was just kind of like, ugh. I'm loyal to Cast products because they're good. They just work. The braid is amazing, but more important, Ryan and Mick are great people. You know them. You want to support them, right? I get it. And they're good people. They're good. Ryan, me and him get the drinking. He gets a little loud. We get a little loud with each other. It's fun. It scares the hell out of everybody around us. One bad experience and how the customer service can make the difference in loyalty. And I think that goes kind of to what Alex is saying. I will say this about Ryan Hanks. Whether you throw Cast products or not, if you have a problem, call him. He will call you back. He will talk to you. He'll try to make it right. I will get that. You may or may not agree at the end of the day, but I will give Ryan that. It's like I've had so many people say he will call you back. He will talk to you. He'll do whatever. And that's where you got to be. It might not end up, the relationship could still be severed, but at least he will try. And there are companies out there whose customer service sucks. I don't care how good the products are. If the people are not worth their weight, they don't have my business. And again, that's what contributes to your brand loyalty, right? Jeff Brazil, you want to see fierce loyalty, get into the custom glide bait scene. Some of those guys are like damn gang members, and I agree with that 100%. listen, glide bait guys, they start. Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous, and then it even has levels like society. Glide bait, you have your wealthy people, right? You got your billionaires, and then you got your middle class guys, and maybe higher middle class, and then you got us poor folk that can't throw but the cheap shit. And I mean, it's trust me, boy, glide bait is its own world. It's its own world. Pontoon Jody, what's going on, honey? I'd rather have a bologna biscuit from the gas station than one from McDonald's. Now listen, yeah, take gas stations for example. Everybody knows here I love jalapeno and cheese hot dog. Quick Trips are superior to racetracks. It's probably made by the same damn company. But I think they taste better coming from a Quick Trip roller than they do from a racetrack roller. I don't know why. I can't explain it. But it's just, if there's a racetrack and there is a Quick Trip and they're right across the street from each other, and on my mind has nothing to do but that jalapeno and cheddar hot dog, I'm going into the Quick Trip every single time. And again, it could be made. It's kind of like name brand and off brand. Probably made in the same place. You guys talking about Hinkle over there. That's funny. Cam was loyal to Fenwick, but those prices are making me rethink. Well, okay, so listen, you're loyal to a point, right? You love that product, but there comes a time when you're like, nah, it's a little too much for me. Let's see. Any thoughts on the DQs in the BFLs? I'll say this one. I'll say this, and this is the only thing because there are reasons why I can't say more. Okay, there are reasons why I can't say more, and it is out of me promising. There's a little more to it than you know. It's not quite as clear cut, and I'll have to leave it at that. But I have been privy to some information that is not out there. And I'm not going to make a judgment. I'm still trying to be Switzerland on that because I got friends on both sides. But I will say that if you just pull up something that says, hey, they're cheaters and all that, it's not quite what you think. And again, I'm kind of still doing my research. But bottom line outdoors, I will say this. It's just, God, I wish I could say more. But I won't. Got to find enough time to watch more, enjoy the content perspectives. Hey, every day, well, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, at 12 o'clock every day. And then Tuesday and Thursday nights, join us on YouTube, the live well. That's when we actually have guests and the people that know what the hell they're talking about. Come on. But bottom line outdoors, let's just put it that way. There is a lot of stuff that I would just say, ATX Lure caught some of your pet fish the other day. You must have went to Latham. You go to Latham? It's just not quite as cut and dry. That's all I'm going to say. And maybe at some point in the future, I'll be able to say more. But right now, I can't. I'm brand specific when it comes to reels for the most part, but not rods, I guess. I do own more cash than anything else, but I buy other brands. And again, like I said, that's kind of the way I am. Now, did you get those 3-pounders over there, Mr. ATX? Because if not, you didn't catch my pets. My pets are the 2.5, 3-pounders over there. I wish I could say they were my pets. They're there. I bet you caught some good ones, though, for sure. I found some of these high-dollar rod and reels are junk. I'm just not into paying big money for something that will break. Got close, ATX. There's some good ones over there. It is still a little bit early. But you kind of see what I've been telling you about in the past. I need to look at this camera when I'm talking to the TikTok. I keep looking over at the computer because that's where I read the comments. Jeff and I have been in the swim bait game a long time. I was around when KGB started. And Jeff says, I have a ton of KGB stuff. Great stuff. Now, Patricia, you're always trying to start something, ain't you? Brand loyalty is when you win a tournament and lie about what you caught them on. That is brand loyalty. I guess you could say that. Maybe you want to keep it a secret. I don't know. God, I'm so far behind. Let's see. I'm gonna scroll. Fishing with Paul. I'm only loyal to quality. As soon as the brand loses that, I'm gone regardless. I agree with that. Dead Rabbit says I'm loyal to Bait Plastics LLC. There you go. Dwayne Wally, tournament ex owner, called me during the tournament because I was having trouble signing in. Awesome guy. That's back to the thing. Bill Lewis, ATV, get all my money, even if they break after every 100 rock bumps. Bass Daddy says. Here's what I'm going to do because I'm so far behind because I've been just running my mouth. I'm going to scroll all the way down and you guys start putting your comments again. I'm so far freaking behind. Well, maybe I'm not. Okay, I thought I was. I'm not as bad as I was. Go back to work, Alex. Tyler says, I like my Loomis GCX at $260 more than the Fenwick world-class rods at like $350. I will tell you this. I had an NRX. I traded the NRX at the time for oh, good grief, titanium. Shit. What was the name of that company? I still got a couple of his rods. I am having such a brain fart right now. Let's just say I traded it for a rod that cost half of it because I thought it was just as good. And dadgummit. They make the Extreme Angler. FX Titanium. I traded an NRX for an FX Titanium and an FX Extreme rod. The Titanium was like $300 something. The Extremes were a little under $200, but I traded an NRX for it. For me, it was a 2-for-1, and I thought that titanium at the time was just as sensitive. Let's see. Fenwicks just don't feel that sensitive. I just got a new Brazalo Bushwhacker out of my mailbox yesterday, matter of fact. Hey, they're good. I really do like them. Let's see. I got to go back up here and pull Patricia Leanne's comment off. There we go. Now scroll back down to the bottom. Tim Wyatt. Anyone that says they catch 3-pound crappie at Latham lies. They need a better scale. 2.5 and 2.75 is the norm. It is. What I've told him, Tim, is that there are 3-pound crappie. I firmly believe there are 3-pound crappie in Latham. I firmly believe there are 3-pound crappie in Latham. But you are absolutely right. Now, you will catch a lot of 2.5s, 2.75s. One thing I don't catch a lot of, though, is small ones. Let's just say if you want some good tacos, Latham's got some good crappie. But yeah, he's right. But they're there. I'm firmly convinced. Have I ever caught one? Okay, so I caught one time, Tim. No lie. I did not have a scale. But I know that thing had, man, its eyes were like quarters. It was the biggest crappie I've ever seen in my life. Okay, and I just brought it home and ate it. I didn't never weigh it. I ate the thing. Now that's been quite a while ago. Let me go out there for a few weeks. I'll find if they're there, he says. But I will tell you this: my son hooked one. My son hates to fish, and I talked him into going. And he said he didn't want to go, but I think we were crappie fishing, and he hooked one on an ultralight, and he was reeling it in, and he was just going to boat flip it. When he pulled it up, if there was ever a 3+ pound crappie, it was on the end of his line. Because when it he got it about a foot and a half out of water, and of course the hook flew out. And he goes like, shit. I said, do you know what you just had on? Do you know how big of a fish you just? And to him, it was nothing. I was like, dude, I've never seen a crappie that big in life, in person. I've never seen one that big. And that was out of Latham, and it was on a crappie minnow. It was on a minnow. Dumbass tried to boat flip it. Wouldn't wait on me. And he goes, I ate the Lanier record brown trout too. Tim, we talked about that on here. It might have been a month or two ago. I was mentioning something, and I said, I didn't know. Do you still have that record? Has that record been broke, or do you still have it? But I told them that you had the brown trout record or a trout record of some sort. And I think I said brown. And I think I said you caught it out of Bald Ridge Marina. And I might be wrong on all that. I've stuck primarily to St. Croix. They're local for me, and I had easier access to the services, 536 Wildcat says. Hey, listen, I like it. Yep, still have it. So Tim White, listen, guys, Tim White on here. He is a record holder. He caught a brown trout out of Lake Lanier. Well, how big was it, Tim? I can't remember. Let's see. When it comes to the wacky worm, Yamamoto is who I'm loyal to. 100% me too. I will use, no, let me rephrase that. Certain colors on certain lakes, I'm not throwing anything but a certain Yamamoto color. Get over here to Latham, I sometimes, just depends on the time of season, I'll go through a bag of Yum Dingers. I mean, you'll go through it entire. Now, when I say a bag, I ain't talking about the 10 bag. I had one of those 100 packs out, and me and Buchanan, I bet we went through 60 to 70 of those things in a single day. We were slaying the 1 pound, 2 pound bass. We could not find a big fish, but we caught fish. It was crazy how many fish we caught that day on that thing. Zoom trick worms have my heart. I just wish they were cheaper. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Doug, this is back to my comment that you can't believe everything you hear and only half of what you see, especially when it comes to people getting disqualified in fishing. Yeah, and Doug, Doug, I might tell you, I just can't put it out over the airways. He caught that brown trout out of Bald Ridge Marina, so I was right on that on a white fluke, 6 pounds. Could you guys imagine you out there chunking a fluke, you on Lake Lanier, you're just working your fluke, and all of a sudden you get hit, and you set the hook, and you're like, oh, okay, it's got some size to it, and this feels a little bit different. And you pull up a brown trout. I don't know what was going through Tim's head at the time, but I can imagine what would be going through my mind. There would be a whole lot of, what the hell? It was over 35 foot of water, too. What are the odds of catching a 6 pound brown trout on Bald Ridge Marina in Lake Lanier over 35 foot of water on a white fluke? If you add in all of those details together, the odds are not in your favor, which makes it even more special. I couldn't remember, Tim, if you still had that record. I knew that you did at one point. And then he ate that joker. Waited, got the record, took it home and ate it. I love it. Let's see. Does Latham keep records? I don't think so, but I know that there's people that, Tim's going to be pretty close to having a lake record largemouth over there too. Now, I heard somebody caught one that was 13 pounds, but I can't verify that. Tim had one that he caught. Oh, there's the damn dogs again. Tim had one that he caught on Latham over probably 70 or 80 foot of water, that big largemouth. And I don't remember if you weighed it, but the picture of it was like, sheesh. He thought you possibly had a monster smallie. Well, see, that would be true if we had smallmouth in Lanier, and we don't have those. But I don't think they keep records. I think it's more of like, you just know, right? You just know. There's been quite a few 10-plus pound largemouth caught out of that. The biggest spot that I've ever heard caught out, but I did not see it with my own eyes, was 6'2". And that was, good grief, 6 years ago. So I don't know if that's true. The guy with me freaked out. He sat down and refused to fish anymore until I went and had it weighed, who was fishing with him when he caught that brown trout. I get it. Do brown trout do good in lakes? Kentucky has started stocking them in lakes. If they ain't got no striper in them, they'll do okay. And if the lake's cold and deep, they'll do all right. Lake Lanier used to have a ton of trout in it back in the day. Now, when I say back in the day, again, I remember my dad and my grandfather sitting out in front of Buford Dam. We're talking early 80s, like 81, 82. And they would go out and they would downline, as simple as it sounds, night crawlers with some corn. And they'd catch some trout and bring them back. We would camp out at Sawney Campground. They'd park the boat on the bank and all that, and we'd stay for a week. Now that I look back at it, and we stayed with like extended family and all that, I don't know how the hell my dad put up with that crap, but we would stay. But they went fishing. We would do it like a week at a time every summer. Danny, would you suggest me go to Latham or stick to Lanier this weekend? I can't find myself of extra travel time to this lake. Well, I mean, listen, Latham from you is not far. If you've got an electric-only rig, you can go to Latham. That's the biggest question, War Eagle. Do you have an electric-only rig or a kayak? I'm always curious here, being a northern boy and seeing what you guys are doing down there. You know what I've learned, 536? It really ain't that damn much of a difference. I got to start looking at this camera. It ain't that much of a difference. Kendra is not on today, but she's in Michigan. She throws the same crap we do. Now, you guys don't get to fish year-round like we do. We get to fish year-round. You guys, depending on how far north you got, y'all's season's a little bit shorter. And in fact, wintertime is when you're going to see down here, at least on our lakes in Lanier, mega bags. The water temps in the summer and the stripers are the reason Lanier can't keep a trout population. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. When Papa and them caught it, my dad, they had to go down. I mean, they were down deep, almost like you were fishing in the timber. If you got a kayak, dude, I tell you what, War Eagle, Latham can put out some good fish. And you can kind of fish it similar to what you would on Lanier. They're both excellent choices. They're both excellent. I would rather go to Lanier because I fished Latham so much back in the day. It just, I like going to Lanier. But Latham's awesome. Tim should have played the lottery that day. Well, I'll tell you how long ago it was. I don't even think the lottery, it probably wasn't around there. It had just started. It's been a while back since he did it. How much bank fishing access is there on Lanier? Depends on what part you're on. They're there. There's places. Now, you also have to keep in mind if the area is open with the government shutdown right now. Because a lot of places that you could go and walk around and fish, you can't get into. They're closed right now. You just need to check. They're all game fish and can fish similar. Just your tactics might be somewhat different. And yes, 536 for sure. I agree with you on that. They will be a little bit different. But it's interesting when we have these conversations and we start talking how similar they are. That's what always catches my mind. And there are little nuances, little bit different things. But, a jig is a jig, right? A Ned rig is a Ned rig. A swim bait's a swim bait. And so it's in those little bitty differences for sure. Doug Rice says, pretty sure I threw back the West Point yellow perch record in the 90s while fishing the Georgia Championship. It was over 2 pounds. Dude, you didn't take that thing home and eat it? Now, speaking of that, last year Kevin Underwood was fishing over the timber, and I believe it was in January. About this time last year, a little later, he got into some perch. For a few days in a row, he was busting big perch. He weighed one of them, took it home and ate it, and then found out later it would have broken the Lake Lanier record for a perch. So he did the same thing, except he ate his. Because we've had that conversation. He was like, oh, man, I had no idea. Because he's a bass guy. Catching a perch is just kind of like an interesting byproduct. And then being able to target them in a certain area for a couple of days and how much he liked to eat the things made it even more enjoyable for him. But he didn't realize he had the late record. There is a picture on my phone, and I'd have to scroll back and find it, of the late record yellow perch if he would have weighed it. And it's about a 2-pounder. It's a little under 2 pounds, Doug. It wasn't quite as big as yours. But I think the late record for Lanier is only like 1.6, 1.7, something like that. I forget. Don't quote me on that. Don't be Googling it and say, no, Danny, you're wrong, because I probably am wrong. But it's something like that. What? The lottery hasn't always been a thing? No, Carson, it has not. It has not. You got to remember, we're in Georgia. It wasn't that long ago. We still had dry counties. Okay? I can remember in like 93, 94, back when my softball days got going, we decided to go up to Dix Creek and camp out, me, Eric Hamrick, some other guys. And it was funny. We had the trucks filled with beer. Well, some of the people with us didn't drink beer and they wanted some brown stuff. And we had to go to Murphy, North Carolina to buy it because that was the closest place that actually sold back then. You had to buy Sunday beer on Saturday, 100%. But we had to go to Murphy, North Carolina to buy some Jim Beam. True story. And there's a lot more that goes with that story, but I'll save that for a later time. I'll take Latham over Lanier any day, Silverpunk said. Yeah, I get it. If the government is shut down, Ranger Rick shouldn't be working. That's true, Jeremy, but you can't get in there because the gate's closed. Now, you can park at the gate, I guess. Like I was talking to the Corps today from Mobile because I wanted to make sure that our Toys for Tots tournament, because I officially haven't gotten a permit. And you can't get nobody on the phone. Now, I have the email now that says you guys are good to go. La-da-dee, la-da-da. I got all that, so we're good to go. But right now, you can't hardly do anything when it comes to the core stuff. If the government is shut down, does that mean I can shoot more than $2? Jarrett K14. Dude, listen, it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission, I guess. I'm not going to tell you to go for it, but I'm not going to tell you not to go for it. You do you, right? Now, there'll be people that'll come on here like, oh, that's not, listen, just have fun. But my luck would be, hey, you know what? I get that one game warden that decides, you know what? It's my duty to go out there. And if I did something wrong like that, I would get caught 100%. Yeah, that's crazy. Does Georgia Blade make a green pumpkin purple with chart in it? If not, I might reach out to them about it. I don't think they make a green pumpkin purple with chart. I don't think they do. I know they got a couple with chart. I know they make green pumpkin purples, but I don't know about with chart. I don't recall seeing one. I'm not saying it don't exist. I have only ever fished Lake Hartwell. I bet Latham is very peaceful without all the boat motors. Nathan, a lot of the electric only ones are, except for certain times when we have the orange armada, is what I call them. Especially during COVID, everybody went to Walmart and bought one of them orange kayaks. And, but at most of the time, yeah. And then, you never, it hasn't happened in a while, but used to you can go around a certain corner and you'd have them out there on paddle boards doing yoga. If you're into that kind of thing, I've seen it. Remember, folks, DNR watches this podcast. That is true. Now, I got pulled over on Lake Lanier one time. Pulled over. And we weren't boarded, but we were fishing a tournament. And they come up, they're checking our licenses and all that stuff. And we were good. But he looked at my license. He goes, "You do that podcast, don't you?" And I said, "Yes, sir. Will that get me out of any tickets?" And he looked at me and goes, "Nope." Now, this is when we first started. So, yeah, DNR does watch this. There are some DNR guys that will watch it. So you do have to be careful. That's why I think they take everything I say with a grain of salt, though. Like, I think they're just like, Danny's full of shit. Nathan says they don't sell liquor in my city. What city? The county I lived in Kentucky was dry up until about 5 years ago. See, I mean, it's still... listen, it ain't been that long that you could buy. I mean, you couldn't buy beer on Sundays, like Tim said. You had to buy it on Saturday. You couldn't. Only shots of Fireball and off-brand vodka. Ugh. I can't believe Murphy isn't dry. Everything up there used to be dry counties. Murphy was the only place. And we're talking 94, 95. It was before I got married. Me and Amanda was with me, but we were dating. We weren't married yet. That's how they catch most of their folks, social media posts. Yeah, I mean, it is true. It is true. He's right by Anderson, South Carolina. You up there in old Clemson territory. For sure. So, that's some nasty shiz, Danny. Yeah, which one's nasty? Dry counties used to keep some of my family in business. Well, think about, North Georgia. What are we known for? Dawsonville, moonshine. NASCAR come out of that. So, it was. We had to hit the road on Sundays, too, from Greenville to cross the North Carolina line. And it is crazy. It's a totally different world now than what it used to be. Yeah, it's just, you couldn't buy it in certain places. Now, my memory is not as what it once was, but North Georgia's changed a lot. And there's still places up here that are they're a little bit behind the times. And it's okay. It's okay. It's variety. It's a spice of life. But, yeah. And I didn't even know that. But I can tell you that night started off, we had two. Now, when I say Ford Ranger, not the small Ford Rangers, not the Ford effing Ranger like I got, but back then when they were big trucks, right? And this was, I think, before, or 400 had just been extended into Dahlonega, maybe right around that time. But we had an entire back of a Ford Ranger, full-size Ford Ranger. The entire bed was loaded. And when I say loaded, I mean level to the top with beer. Not everybody was of age that was going with us. And again, I think the statute of limitations has run out. This was in the 90s. And damn if that truck didn't break down on the side of 400, right in front of where the Ingalls is now and McDonald's in Dawsonville. If you know that area, right on the side of 400. Brad Newton, his truck broke down right there. It's still legal to marry your cousin north of 53. And I think it does happen to him. I think it does happen. There are states, or at least used to be, where you can't hunt on Sundays. Think about that. Couldn't hunt deer on Sundays either, Captain J. Morgan said. We couldn't buy beer when we were skiing in Utah on Sunday. I got to go to Salt Lake for Digital Sportsman next month. I hope that's not going to be an issue. North Carolina was not that too long ago. Just recently able to hunt some game lands now on Sunday, but there's still restrictions. War Eagle the Best wants to know why Carter never had smallmouth bass. I do not know, War Eagle the Best. I don't know. I could not give you a very good answer on that. It would be a 100% guess. But I do know that just up the road, Blue Ridge had them, Notley had them, Chatuge had them. I don't know if Carter's ever had them or not. There's still a lot of places here you couldn't buy liquor till noon on Sundays. Yeah, listen, I mean, all the things that you guys are talking about now, the hunting a little bit different, but all of those things was, dude. Jason, 2008 was when you could buy beer in Murphy. Are you talking about like all year? We went up there somewhere and bought liquor. I know we had to go into North Carolina. I just assumed it was Murphy, but it's been a hot minute. I know it was in North Carolina. Smallmouth are not native to the Coosa Basin. That's why. Okay, that's why. And Carter's Lake, I guess, is part of that. I think too. I'm trying to think. You used to couldn't buy anything on Sunday in Forsyth County as well. So I mean, I remember those days. It's just changed a lot. And I imagine if you get off the beaten path in some of these rural areas. Oh, Jason Nelson said they sold liquor but not beer. Okay, that made sense. I was trying to think, Jason, as to when we were in. I said, man, I know we were there. We bought liquor, but that's interesting. I didn't know you couldn't buy beer. We had all the beer already at the campsite, so that was not our target. But I didn't even know that. How about this, Carson Fowler? I heard drinking, and they still don't let you buy it before 12 in Jasper, I think. But damn, they didn't have the lottery in the 90s. I don't remember when the lottery started. But if it did, it was in the 90s. I don't think it was, or maybe it was late 80s. It was right about that time. Somewhere right in there, Carson. But it's been a hot minute. But it wasn't there all my life for sure. Can't buy liquor or beer on Sunday here. People get real mad. Well, you just got to be prepared for it, right? You got to be prepared for it. It is what it is. Interesting conversation. Tony said it was around, Tim Wyatt said 93. Tony said it was around 93, 94. And the place that printed the tickets was called Scientific Games, and it was located just south of Cumming, north of Alpharetta, right around McFarland, I believe, somewhere right in there. And that's where all the tickets, and they still might be there for all I know. I don't know. But I remember wanting to get a job there at one point back in the day. For sure. So it's been a hot minute. But anyway, all right, guys. So look, tonight, I want you guys to come back when we got Fisher on. It's going to be a good show. Tim McGuire will be on. Kevin Thornton will be on. And we're going to talk to him, see what we can squeeze out of him. Oh, Doug Rice. Let's talk about moon phases. We can talk about that real quick. I didn't get to the moon phase. Okay, Oakwood has one too. Okay, moon phases. Had beer in Andrews, but not in Murphy. Interesting. All right, real quick, because we're not going to really give a full time to it. But when it comes to moon phases and fishing, now I know in hunting it seems to be guys talk about it a lot more. Full moon affects this, la di da da. How many of you guys pay attention to the moon phase when fishing? Okay, when fishing. And if you fish and hunt, do you have equal amount of, I guess, you pay attention to it equally is the best way I guess I can say it. I know in hunting, everybody talks about the full moon and, deer out all night. But in my opinion, and in what I've seen with my own eyes, early in the morning, late in the evening, you may see more if you hunt in the middle of the day, but I still always see deer early in the morning, late in the evening. I don't think it really changes that much for me. But then again, I'm not in the woods every single day. Coleman said, I've heard, Roger, I will enjoy it, buddy. Appreciate it. I've heard fish on herring lakes eat less at night when it's a new moon. It seems to correlate decently. I've also heard bluegill spawn on a full moon. And for sure, I've heard that. Now, I will try to bring it up tonight on YouTube. Watch on the TV. Hey, watch us tonight. Seriously. Absolutely. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. FNGO on YouTube. I've heard stuff like that. Jeremy says, I always look at the moon phase, but that's because how much I might fish at night, how much he fishes at night. And so, yeah, I hear it more often in hunting than I do in fishing. I really do. But I have heard that, on the full moon, brim, bluegill, and all that, they spawn. I've heard it, with, what's his name? Oh, good Lord. O'Neill Williams, when I did a podcast with him, he got talking about walleye on Lanier back in the day. The full moon in February was when the walleye would make their run up the Chattahoochee and the Chestatee, most of the Chattahoochee. And a lot of people, that's, they'll determine kind of things like that, things that should happen on a full moon. Deer hunter, the rut should be on this full moon, whatever. What minnows are people buying nowadays? Gabe wants to know what minnows you guys are buying. It's really all over the place. Moonrise and moonset too. Today is 6:10 p.m. The rise and 8:20 a.m. set. I don't. But I saw the reason that I was going to talk about today was I saw a post and it was hunting related. But I know I used to go buy that watch, and that watch would do the moon phases. This watch does the moon phases, but you could buy that one and the fish bite better. Glenn Burns puts out those solar, and then the lunar kind of feeding things. The Sakyo Mama Shad. I saw the pictures of that. Check them out at Danny's at Crossbait Company. I actually saw those. Those look good. But they were talking about it then. And we read that book at one time. Hey, Danny, have you ever heard of napping stone to make arrowheads? I just started a week ago and have a couple of them. I've heard of them, but I've never done it, buddy. I've heard of that, though. Yes. Doug writes, it has been proven that the moon phase really doesn't have any effect on deer and when they move. Don't think it affects fish either. I've done my research, and it doesn't affect deer. And that's what I was saying, Doug, is like, maybe you might get some more moving in the middle of the day. I don't know, but most guys hunt early morning, late in the evening, and I've seen deer the entire time on a full moon. Now, could they move more during the night? Maybe. I don't know. Mooch Minnow is one, too. Freeloader is one. The Echo is one. Strike King Z2 3-inch minnow. And then, of course, your Suck Your Mama Shads. Check them out, too. Zoom Wing Fluke, that's another one. But, the giant beaver moon was impressive last night. Well, my beaver moon was sleeping. I didn't get to see it, so I hope your beaver moon was more impressive than mine. Oh, Lord. Jeremy Cockrat says, I start fishing at night in March, and it depends on when the full moon is. Okay. The last couple of nights here, they really have been out here in the north. I believe you're talking about deer. Yeah, for sure. I'm seeing more deer, and them big bucks are now on their feet. That's what I'm saying around here. So, panfish spawn on a new and full moon, more on a full moon, except shell crackers on a new moon. There you go, Doc Holliday. I did not know that about the shell crackers on a new moon. See, I learned something too. I learned from you guys. That's awesome. I did not know that. Nathan says, I've always been into Native Americans. Let me tell you something. I thought I was Native American. My mama, my entire life said I was Cherokee Indian. It's the reason I can't sleep at night on a full moon. And my Aunt Joan would say something about we're supposed to be out harvesting freaking crops. You know how people, they say stupid shit like that. But that's what I was always told. I even remember in high school, my mom said I should apply for a scholarship because I was like something native Cherokee Indian and I could qualify for it. And then I did the ancestry. I ain't got no Indian in me. I'm as white as a white man can be. I'll pull it up for you guys. I'm gonna find it. Maybe next week I'll bring it out. I think I'm like it says like 95% Great Britain, and the other 5% is some kind of European thing, which totally explains why I'm short, white, fat, and bald, and lacking in other departments. I'm like Winston Churchill, dude. I'm there, dude. But I ain't got no Cherokee Indian in me. None. But my mama, my Aunt Joan, even after my cousin, her son took it. Same thing. We as white can be. And you can show them this, and they still, nope. Your great-grandfather on this side married Pocahontas, whatever. No, I ain't. I'm white, dude. Now, my wife, true story. My wife did one too. She's just like me, with the exception. She got 1% Congo. 1% Congo. There's a piece of pepper in the salt shaker somewhere down the line. My wife's got 1% Congo. And if you look up and this is South Carolina, their family's from South Carolina, and there are some people from South Carolina and the Appalachian Mountains that they all are kind of related via, genetically, the DNA and all that. And so you have some African American in there. You have some other things in there. And if your last name is Perkins and you are a true Perkins, that's one of the names of this genealogy of people. And they got 1% Congo. My wife is a Perkins. But sure enough, it showed. I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. Now, is the ancestry stuff correct? I don't know. But I paid for it. That's what it told me. I spit in a bottle or swabbed or did something. But ain't no Cherokee Indian in me. Short, white, fat. You don't get no whiter than I am. Danny, my wife's mom, said the same thing for years. My wife did Ancestry and came up with the same answer. I think everybody down here. Now, listen, where I live is the start of the Trail of Tears. Old Federal Road right here. This whole area in Forsyth County, Dawson right here, Cherokee County and all that, was a hub for Cherokee Indians. There's no doubt about it. It was a major spot. And then we don't want to get into all that history and all that. But I think just back in then, they just assumed. But then my Aunt Joan would say, no, over in Alabama. I mean, I don't know what, but we ain't got it. I did have a great grandmother, though, that could do that conjuring crap. If you had a wart, she could conjure it off. She'd say some kind of crazy ass thing under her breath and tie a string around the wart and pull the string. It's kind of like you read about that crap in the Foxfire book Foxfire books from up North Georgia. She conjure warts and stuff. Say some Bible verse or something, So I mean, it's witchcraft. Needless to say, my mother-in-law says ancestry is wrong. That's what they do. I can't tell you how many people I know that say over here is where the Trail of Tears started. It's like close to here. I just know Old Federal Road was on Old Federal Road, and which is right here. You see the markers like right above my house. When I turn on Yellow Creek Road, it says original path of the Trail of Tears or something like that. It's historical and all that. Yeah. Witching stick for wells. Coleman, I can do that. And listen, true story. My son and my daughter my son and his wife, they bought their house over in Hall County. We were all out there talking with her family and all that. And they've got an old hand-dug well that is no longer used. That's on the property. And I was talking about this stuff, and everybody said, about the witching stick and all that. And they all thought I was full of crap. I said, go get me 2 wire coat hangers. And honest to God, I cut them so that they had a little 90-degree bend and a little bit long enough to hold loosely in my hands. And I said, whenever I get near water, those 2 wire things are going to turn and they're going to cross. Danny, you're full of crap. I learned this from an old well digger guy a long time ago. Sure enough, if you take those 2 things and you hold them loose, those 2 wire hangers, and you get near water, they both will. Absolutely. I got near that old well and both of them things would do. They come right in together. You'd have thought it was the Salem witch trials or something like that again with her family. Like, oh my gosh, what kind of, I was like, good guys have known this for like millennia. A coat hanger trick does work. See, that's what I'm saying. 2 coat hangers, as long as it's metal. Forget forward-facing sonar. I'm going to use a witching stick to find my fish. That's what Randy does. Tyler says, we have a place in Hartwell called the Center of the World. It was a settlement for the Cherokee. I got a book in there on the Cherokee Indian language. I said, I'm going to learn it because I thought I was Cherokee. Well, needless to say, it's got dust on it. Tony says, I got my ancestry test and fecal test mixed up. Mine just came back and said I'm full of shit. I'll show myself out. That's funny as crap. Anyone can go out in the yard and do it with a water line. You can. And guys, don't listen. It works. It Anyway, we'll talk about moon phase a little bit more next week when we can actually put some time into it. I got a book that talks about how it really isn't as useful as you think it is. All right, so with that, we went a little bit longer. We gave you an extra 15 minutes, bonus coverage, extra innings here on the lunch break. But I'm gonna go. I gotta get some work done. I actually got to go sight a rifle in real quick. I got to do that. Make sure, because I don't want to get up there and maim any of those Kentucky deer. And let me read this real quick. Captain J. Morgan. Daniel Boone's mom was a Morgan. We are distant cousins. My first cousin is all into the ancestry history and stuff. I got a cousin that says he traced our lineage back to some knight over in Great Britain. And I thought, well, that's convenient. Because if you ask me, we'd be out there. We'd be the peasants out there like on Monty Python and the Holy Grail just farming shit and mud. But, of course, everybody always ends up with a knight, right? Everybody's related to some knight. Like, no, not us. Can you use a modern rifle in Kentucky, or got to be a slug? I think you can use a modern rifle, but I have a 12-gauge rifle barrel slug gun that I absolutely freaking love, and I'm going to make sure it's on. That's the word I was looking for, lineage, low Welsh or something. That's pretty cool. But we ain't got no knights, and we ain't got no Cherokee Indian. Just short, fat, poor white people. That's what we are. Guys, join us again tonight, 8 o'clock. Fisher and I will be on. We'll have a good time. And again, no lunch break tomorrow because I am going to be on the road headed north. And you guys, appreciate you stopping by, hanging with me during the middle of the day. Come back. We'll see you tonight. And if I don't see you tonight, I'll see you next Tuesday. So you guys be good. I'll get rid of the TikTokers first. You guys, appreciate you joining us today. And you guys over here, hey, I love you guys. Y'all be good. Be safe. We'll see you tonight.